They said, I could do the cleaning business, I could do the trucking, I could do Airbnbs, I could do all this stuff, but I don't know what to do first. I got my mind everywhere, and I don't know where to start. And this reminded me of something you just said this week or today or whatever. He was like, we used to be action takers. And that's one thing that people get away from when you got too many things happening. It's hard to take action on one thing.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast. We are your hosts, Anthony.
And I'm Janoka.
And we appreciate you guys being here. Before we get started, please, if you could do us just one favor, go drop us a 5-star review if you think we're a 5-star podcast. We got some big goals in the new year. We got some big goals.
Yes, and if you can also write a review, we will read it on here to shout you out and thank you personally for going ahead and going the extra mile of writing us a review.
Yes. So this episode, we're going to be talking about, is it possible to have too many streams of income? And you may be sitting there thinking like, how the hell is that even possible? And I know it sounds nuts. I know it sounds crazy, but we are here to convince you, some of you guys especially, that you may have too many streams of income. And we're going to drop some signs that you have too many streams of income too.
Yep.
And so also shout outs to our sponsors of this episode, Melanin Money. As you can see, Janoka is rocking her fine Black Brilliant Billionaire in the Making shirt. You could check them out at melaninmoney.com and use code HUSTLE for some percentage off. They got great gear. They also have a podcast. Check out the Melanin Money Show. And they also have a community, the Melanin Millionaires Club as well. So you could check them out. We will tag them. They're tagged in every episode. And we appreciate them being our sponsors of this show. Continuing.
And their clothing is quality. So you won't
be quality. So this conversation came up because I was listening to the Earn Your Leisure interview. And if you didn't know, Earn Your Leisure is a financial literacy podcast, and I'm a huge podcaster. And I'm saying explain to Janoka, I'm also explaining to you guys as well as we sit here. So it was an interview with Timbaland. Timbaland is a producer. He's a writer. He's a...
Who doesn't know who Timbaland is?
I don't know.
And if you don't, wake up.
Yeah, so
Get from under a rock.
is a multi-millionaire in the music, starting off in the music industry. And they like to find out backgrounds about people, not just the music, but how'd you get into the entrepreneurship game? So he started as a producer and worked his way into entrepreneurship, as most of them have, especially as they go on in their careers. So Timbaland was explaining how the company or the platform Versus got started. And Versus, if you didn't know, it was a streaming platform that happened during the pandemic.
It wasn't a platform.
It was on Instagram.
It was just on Instagram, yeah. I was laughing. If you don't know what Versus is, another person under the rock.
You never know who the audience is. I want to make sure people understand,
true, but
have a good understanding of what happened. So Versus was something that, it was an idea that Timbaland and Swiss Beats had, who's also a producer. And it was literally like a back and forth competitive between like them two. That was like the idea. They were supposed to do it years ago. Like, all right, let's just go like do a tour, and it's just like us, me versus you type of thing. And during the pandemic, everyone was at home. And he said one of the best things that happened to him during the pandemic was that he had nothing else to do. He said we were all at home, we had nothing else to do, and he created Versus with Swiss Beats. And he said they were able to focus on that only because they only had that one thing happening. So, can you have too many streams of income? This is where that conversation starts from.
Coming from someone that's a multimillionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but a multimillionaire, he's already saying. But
so what's your thoughts on that?
What? Like
him being able to start the Versus only because they didn't have anything else going on.
I mean, it makes sense because sometimes when you slow down, then you're able to focus on one thing. And that's essentially what he's saying. Like, they always wanted to do it, but other things got in the way.
Yeah.
Basically. So it makes sense with just having this one. One person will say, well, he has multiple streams of income. Yes, but this stream of income specifically didn't happen until he sat down and focused on one.
Yeah.
Basically. So it makes sense to me.
Another thing he had mentioned was that this didn't make any money for 2 years. So it was literally a side hustle that he turned into more than a side hustle. And he said for 2 years, we didn't make absolutely any money from this platform, from doing this. And it was just something that we were doing because we had the time and we were able to focus on it.
And it grew.
And he's like, I didn't know that starting a business from scratch would be this difficult. Starting a startup from scratch can be this difficult. And you would think that he got all this money, he started businesses. But if you think about it, a lot of times they don't.
Yeah, a lot of times it'll start businesses. They invest in businesses, but unless they have their own thing happening, and most of them don't, especially in music, then it makes sense that he doesn't know what it will take. Or even if you know what it would take, it's just on a different scale compared to like us starting a business. It's on a way different scale. So I know a lot more probably goes into that financially, lawyers, all that type of stuff. So.
Yeah, so that was one of the biggest challenges with him starting, was that starting from ground zero and trying to figure out, right, how am I going to turn this into a business? And it took him 2 years to figure it out. But the most important key was he didn't realize that having multiple things going on is extremely hard until he had nothing going on, was only able to focus on that one thing.
Well, here we are. Thank you for the verses, Timbaland. But somebody else said Roger James Hamilton, founder of Entrepreneurs Institute and author of The Millionaire Master Plan, argues that too many streams of income can lead to a loss of focus, which can eventually lead to a loss of money.
That's a bar.
You can't be an octopus.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. In that same thing with Timbaland, same thing we're saying, you can't be in multiple places at once. Something is going to slack, right? And I don't know if it was a show we were watching or something that spoke about like different seasons, in that the husband was speaking about, I couldn't be the best husband, the best employee, and the best father at the same time, as much as somebody thinks they can. Not saying that you aren't there at all, but something is getting more than the other. And that's essentially the case with this. So something loses focus. Maybe sometimes that's okay because there's different seasons, and that's okay. But when you're talking about businesses and different streams of income, it's probably not going to grow, right? So I have these 7 things, and I'm trying to do it all. That's draining. That's taxing. It's annoying. You no longer want to do it. It's so much that goes into it. What you focus on grows, basically. So what you focus on grows, and I think that that's exactly what his statement is saying in regards to the loss of focus, the loss of money. So
that's a bar.
Octopus?
No, too many streams of income can lead to a loss of focus, and a loss of focus will lead to a loss of money. And you mentioned that because I know when we first started our cleaning business, that was like the only thing. We were focused on 9-to-5s and other things, but that was the only thing outside of that we knew it had potential growth that we really focused on.
That was ours too.
That was ours.
Yeah.
So we were able to focus on that and grow it for at least 3 years before we started focusing on anything else outside of that. So we were able to see our most amount of growth in those first 3.5 years. But after that, but even so with business, it's like you're not going to get that type of growth every single year after year, 80%, 100%, 120. That's not normal growth for a business. Yeah, even 50%. It's not normal growth for a business. But if you're able to focus on something for a long period of time, and long is relative, but 2 to 3 years of focus, I guarantee that you will see the efforts that go into that. Like you'll see the fruits of your efforts going into that. And that could be a challenge. But especially in social media age, we get shiny object syndrome, and I am a victim of it all the time. I always bring stuff to you.
Yeah, definitely. What else do we have here? Most people have one income stream, which is their job, which is a form of earned income, which we're going to speak about the types of income streams as well. But based on the stats, which I don't have in front of me, of how many people can even, can afford $1,000 mistake or a $300 mistake, I would say just having your earned income is not enough. And that's something that we preach all the time. Even though we're saying, can you have too many streams of income? You probably can have one additional outside of your earned income, just so that you have the option. So just so you're able to afford that emergency of $200 or $1,000. So I know maybe 70% of us listening may only have one stream of income. That's okay. We're talking about it being too much when you may have 5 or 6 and you're not able to grow it, basically.
Yeah, and that's one thing we always preach on the podcast is please, please, please have something outside your job. And it may not be something that's going to be generating thousands and thousands of dollars a month, but it could help you in case of emergency. And we're not saying that you shouldn't have multiple. We're just saying you have to have something outside your 9-to-5 that can help sustain you in case of emergency.
I also feel like too much of anything is never good. Anything you can think of, too much of it is not good. So I think that this plays into that.
Too much money is never good?
Yeah, usually not. Usually not.
Give me an example of someone having too much money that being never good.
with what it comes with having
too much
money
is relative too.
Too much is definitely relative, because somebody can say someone making 200,000 is too much versus 2 million versus 200 million. But generally, with what it comes with, is not a good experience.
They say that your life doesn't get exponentially better outside of like a quarter million a year. Mm-hmm. And if you live a normal is relative too, but if you live a normal life, they say it doesn't get exponentially better unless you're specifically trying to. This is for a single person too. But unless you're trying to actively spend and more. Do more, so you're constantly trying to do the first class, you're constantly trying to do the upgrades, and they said you have to have a conscious effort to spend that amount of money in a year for a single person.
Yeah, I do. I just feel like too much of anything is not good for you. So
I don't know if I agree with having too much money is a problem.
We all say that. And then the problems come with it. So more money, more problems.
Elon Musk has too much money. He has too much. Is it too much money problems?
Probably. If he didn't have all this money, it may not be impacted. We probably wouldn't even know his name.
I think he has I don't say he has too much money. I say he has too many streams of income problem right now.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not upset if someone has too much money. If I have too much money, amazing. I'm not saying don't do it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying most of the time, too much of anything is not necessarily a good outcome. It's usually a problem.
I think Elon Musk has too many streams of income because he's not able to focus on.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know what streams of income he has besides Tesla and Twitter.
I mean, those are huge.
Yeah, there's levels to the streams.
So when it comes to Elon Musk, I say he has too many streams of income because if he has two of the biggest companies in the world, and he's the CEO of both. So Tesla and Twitter. If you're trying to manage, if a normal person can't manage multiple jobs, I can't imagine a multi-billionaire managing multiple jobs, especially of that magnitude. You're managing thousands of employees. Now, at the CEO level, you may not be in the day-to-day that often, but according to him and his social media, it seems like he's in the day-to-day often.
Because he wants to be.
He would be someone that I say has too many streams of income or too many businesses to manage.
Even with just having two. I mean, I'm sure he has more than two, but the ones that we know of, even with him having two, is just, so maybe it's not always the money, it's the amount of time or the capacity of it. I mean, not money. Maybe it's not the amount of streams you have. Yeah. But it depends on the capacity. Like, I can have a Chick-fil-A franchise and working at my 9 to 5 and walking dogs is not the same as him running Twitter and Tesla.
No.
Exactly. Okay.
Absolutely not. And this is another stat we came across. It's like the average millionaire. We always hear, if you guys listen to this, you know what the stat says. The average millionaire has how many streams of income? And the number is 7.
7.
You always hear that.
7 is that lucky number.
They always got 7, right? Mm-hmm. But the actual stats say, the real numbers on entrepreneur.com says 70% of millionaires, which is more than half, only have 3 streams of income. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is the real focus right there. They say the average millionaire, 70% of the average millionaires have 3 streams.
Then it ain't the average.
And it's not 7.
Right.
So that's something that we need to get out of our heads and stop saying that's that.
And something else that we documented here is focus on one thing for a long amount of time. It will allow you to grow and diversify. Simply what we did with the cleaning business. Yeah. Focusing on one thing and then allowing us to grow and diversify. It's for us to go on and say, okay, we want to do commercial now. We want to do Airbnb now, all those things. Now, granted, you can start from the jump doing everything, but especially when you don't really know much about the business, you could be pulled in different ways and then you kind of give up because it becomes frustrating. But if I just focus on residential, get that down pack, and then I branch into something else, it doesn't feel like a necessity. It feels like, okay, this is what I want to do now, and now my business can go in that way. I think of it just like with maybe Target. They probably I don't know exactly what they started with, but I know they wasn't selling wine in every store, and they still don't sell wine in every store.
Amazon.
Right? Amazon sells wine?
No, books.
You're just saying in general, huh?
No.
Oh, they started out as books. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So you start somewhere, get it down pack, and then you continue to grow it. And that's what they're speaking about here. Also, they said they don't tell you that whoever has started focus on one stream, like we said, and grew and allowed it to invest in the other 6. So that was the case for us, cleaning business. And then it says, okay, now we can get a virtual assistant company. Now we can get rental properties because we focus on this one thing that has now allowed us to move and branch out. We've excelled with this one thing. And I think that's the difference with people. Usually we just multiple things at once. And that's usually a problem. But
yeah, that is a problem, and it can become challenging too. This is why we're trying to convince you that you can have too many streams of income. Yeah. But the thing about the focus on one thing for a long time is that a lot of big companies focus on one thing at a time and then kind of grew on. So Amazon was one of them where they focused on books for quite some time, and then they moved on to literally everything else.
Like, we got this. We got this.
I don't know what came after books, right? It was books and then whatever it was.
Who knows?
They focused on one thing. Amazon's like, listen, we're going to focus on one stream of income. We're going to focus on getting books to people. We're going to focus on selling books. And then once we master the selling books and getting people online and getting our fulfillment and getting orders out on time, and then it's like, all right, we might try to say, all right, let's try to do 5-day shipping because everyone was doing probably like 7-day back then. Or even 2 weeks. So let's get this right. Let's get this down packed, and then let's move on. All right, let's try to do 3-day shipping. Now we can try other products, and then also, let's try other people's products. So focusing on that one thing, getting really good, and then diversifying what you're focused on should be the name of the game.
Yeah. Then they went on to groceries, and they keep expanding.
How about Amazon groceries?
Yeah. Well, they're connected with Whole Foods, so it's not really them, but yeah. So they just keep expanding on what is working. So that's the thing. You don't have to be doing multiple things. Expand on that one thing that is working and make a whole ecosystem around that. It's a no-brainer to me, but we kind of, I think in this day and age as well, with seeing with social media, there's so many avenues that you can go, and people just want to do it all, which can be okay, but promise if you focus on one thing, maybe that's your thing. And we're not speaking about like, well, I kind of tested out to see what would work for me. I feel like that's a little different versus me saying I have to have an Airbnb, I have to do trucking, I got to do vending machines. I'm just naming the things that are out there. I got to do vending machines, then I got to be a business coach, and I got to do a cleaning business. Something gonna slack unless you have somebody in place, but generally we do not. So something's gonna slack.
I saw this tweet today, and I thought it was really literally the epitome of this episode. This person said I forgot exactly who they were and what they said, but they said, I could do the cleaning business, I could do the trucking, I could do Airbnbs, I could do all this stuff, but I don't know what to do first. I got my mind everywhere, and I don't know where to start. And this reminded me of something you just said this week or today or whatever. He was like, we used to be action takers. And that's one thing that people get away from when you got too many things happening. It's hard to take action on one thing.
Yeah.
So how'd you come to that conclusion that we aren't the same action takers we used to be?
Just with little things in our businesses that we see happening that we're trying to get back to now. Is like, okay, we lost that last year because we were like, all right, somebody else can do this, somebody else can do that. And don't get me wrong, there is certain points in the businesses where somebody else can do it, but now we're back at the same spot, maybe because we didn't put systems in place the correct way, all these things. So I'm like, looking back, it never was a question of I'm relying on this person to do it. We would just get it done. So why can't we do the same thing? Now, it is our business, right? Even if we hire people, they work for us. We're not working for them. So how do we get back to what we knew worked, first of all, and then also just getting back to us just doing it. And if it don't work, it don't work. You move forward and do something else. That's our philosophy with everything. And we tell you guys that, right? Don't perfect it. But then at times we're not doing it in our own business. So
yeah, and then I literally, after you said that quote, it was like, all right, we didn't get this flyer out because we didn't tell the person to do the flyer, which was on us. And then I literally created the flyer and put it out there. And I think you get to a point, going back to the too many streams of income, you get to the point where doing too many things, you try to perfect everything sometimes. So instead of, all right, we got these things happening, we know what's working, and continue doing what worked before, we're like, all right, we want to perfect everything that's happening. So if you got 8, 9, or 7 businesses, you're trying to perfect each and every one every single day versus focusing on what you can control and taking action. So back to that person's suite, instead of focusing on the 5 things that they can start, focus on one thing you start and take action. And that can be a challenge nowadays. Like, you got so many things happening, you're trying to figure out what to start first, what to keep going, what to take action on.
And I remember I heard an entrepreneur, she said this. She's like, when I wanted YouTube to grow, that's what I focused on. She's like, I barely was posting on Instagram. I probably would post 2-3 times a week. When I wanted my YouTube to grow, that was my focus. I didn't focus on TikTok, this, the other, and the other. But like I said, there are some people that are able to do it all, but most of us are not. Most of us are not. So what you focus on grows, and she has 350K subscribers now. So obviously she did something right, right? So doing that, and that's something that we did as well when it came to our YouTube as well. The year before, 2021, I think we posted 4 videos. 2022, over 100 videos, right? We were like, no, it wasn't over 100. Maybe like
it was.
6. Oh, it was over 100. We were like intentional about growing it. So what you focus on grows, and the multiple things can be a hindrance to you, basically. So.
Yeah, so as we're talking about streams of income and going back to that millionaire conversation, you want to reiterate or definitely explain what the types of incomes are. Like what type of diversification you're talking about here. So all the personal finance experts, not us included, they talk about
7 different streams of income. So types of income, not streams.
So the average millionaire has 7 different streams of income. Now, that's what they said. When in actuality, 70% of millionaires have 3 streams. And that's what they document. That's what they label. But we said the first one. We all have this when we have a job. Like earning income is
or self-employment.
Is literally you working for someone, you working for a job, or you working for yourself, and you're getting paid to do that job. And a lot of us, that's the only stream of income, which is, I don't want to say it's fine, but it's something that you should definitely.
It's okay.
You should definitely have at least more than just your earned income in case whoever's giving you that income comes and takes it away from you. We talk on this podcast how to help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. And this is the outside the job part we're talking about. Taking that earned income and doing something else with it so that you can not have to focus on anyone, anyone kind of putting food on your table.
Right. So that's the first one, earned income. The second type of income is profit income. Comes from selling a product or a service for more than its original price, basically. So if you have, upselling whatever it is that you're selling, makeup, clothes, anything like that, and it can come from running a store, selling products, offering services, and getting paid for your time, basically. So our maybe like our contractors, they get paid for their time, the work that they do. So that's profit income. The third one, you want to talk about earn interest. What does this say? You can earn interest income. Interest income. Okay.
So this is the one where you put your money and you make it work for you. This is the one that you see people talking about how to invest in the stock market, how to invest in Forex, or how to invest in bonds, how to invest in Bitcoin or
index funds,
anything like that. So making your money work for you. So you take $100, you put it in something that's going to create interest on that money, and it's going to grow. That's your pretty much earned interest.
Yep.
Interest income. So you invest your money and you make it work for you. This is something you definitely want to do when you can do this at your 9-to-5 too. So you think about your 401k. So that's something that you could do at your 9-to-5. You're taking that money, you're putting it to work for you, and it becomes interest income. So making your money is making money for you. That's a place that you definitely want to be in.
401k, Roth IRAs, 529 college plans, all of those is what this would be. Or maybe the next one. The fourth one is earning dividend income by buying shares of a company and receiving dividend payments. It says keep in mind that not all companies pay dividends. I don't know anything about buying companies and shares of a company, so that ain't my field. But I feel like sometimes they talk about doing this with stocks too, though.
Yeah, buying shares. This is exactly what you're doing. So you're taking your money, you're putting it into companies that give dividend income. So they're pretty much giving their shareholders a piece of the pie.
Yes, exactly.
So you're putting your money in, they're going to say, all right, we thank you for investing with our company. Here's what we made, and we're profit sharing with you. So that is a longer term game plan. So you're not going to just invest money and get, $10,000 immediately. That's more of a long term, my kids type of thing. As
we're reading through, we just did 4 types of... What's the word I'm trying? 4 types of income streams. We're about to do number 5. Do we have all of these types so far? Earned income.
We'll get to that.
We'll get that at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is rental income. If you, we have to reference that episode we've done before, but it's a great way to earn money from your property if you have enough money for the initial investment, and then it'll also grow in value. You get a tenant in, you get some profit then, and then the equity as well. But I mentioned an episode that we've done because Rental income is not something that I necessarily wanted to get into. Save the spiel for those of you that's going to jump and say, but the equity and blah, 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 just save it right now. Hold off right now. We will link one of our episodes that we did, but it hasn't been a fun income stream, basically. So that's what I'll say about rental income.
Rental income has not been a fun income stream, and I just want to say that outright. And we are working on it. We are working to grow our rental portfolio. And we may say, you know what, this ain't for us. But we got to figure that out. But it is an option, and we are trying it, and we're giving it, again, long-term mindset. We're giving it a couple years to figure out if this is something for us and this is not for us. You don't just get in a property, you get out within 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and be like, yo, this is not for me.
But I was gonna say, when you said this is not for us, doesn't everybody say it is for them? I feel like I've never heard anyone say, oh, you shouldn't do like rental income.
Oh yeah, definitely. People say that all the time. A lot of people actually say that.
Okay, let me rephrase that. So a lot of people say they don't like to be landlords and that type of stuff. But even if you're not being a landlord, some people just buy it and flip it and stuff like that. So they're involved in rental in some way. Anybody says that don't buy houses at all, I haven't met them.
I mean, right, we spoke about this, the digital real estate versus physical real estate. A lot of people especially entrepreneurs who are more online based, they're like, I would not want to put my money into units because it can't. You even said this. You're like, why would I put my money into physical assets when my digital assets pay me tenfold way before that one is? Like, I buy a rental property now. That one property is going to cost me
$300 a month.
That one property is going to cost me 60, 70, 80, 100,000. And I'm not getting that 100,000 back, but the digital real estate, I may put that 100,000 in and it may give me literally 200,000 by next year, or 300,000, whatever it may be. So that would be where some of the biggest debates come from, like that real estate argument, the digital versus physical real estate. But I don't think, not many people say don't own properties unless they've had a bad experience.
Right. Well, we've had a bad experience, but I still would say do it because you may do something different, right? You may not buy and hold it. You may decide to buy and flip it. So it's different ways to, I guess, have that income.
And this next one is capital gains income from selling a capital asset. So you sell your property, you sell your house, you do a work of art, shares of a company after increasing the value. So your house that you buy, that we just said rental income, you get all this. That's another thing too. So the rental income, you get the tenant in there, they help you pay down the loan, it goes up in value, and then you sell that property, and the income you get is capital gains income. Because now you're like, all right, the property, I got it for 100, it's now worth 2. I just made 100,000.
Read the last sentence. The capital gains tax will be applied to your income.
And you get taxed. Uncle Sam was on.
So if I buy something for 50, it goes up to 100, they taxing me for the 100, not the 50.
They're taxing you for what you made on it, yeah. They're taxing you on it. No,
so they're taxing me at 50 then?
50, yeah.
Okay.
They're taxing you what you made.
What you make, not the value.
There's so many different ways with rental income, how to make money. Like, again, but I'm not going to go into all that. These are just the types of income streams. And then royalty income.
And then to earn royalty income, you create something unique and charge others for using it, basically. So the royalties can come from books, music, patents, digital content. Yeah, so 7 types of income streams that most of the things that we do or come up with are going to fall into that. But we wanted to talk about what those different things were because you may not even be thinking about that. So the question I asked you was, do we have all of these? One of them I can say off the top of my head, we do not. But
what?
Royalty income?
Royalty income, so no.
Would that be similar to affiliate? Royalty, you usually think about music. You hear that more in that realm.
Yeah, that's more of a, you charge them something for, you charge them for using it. No.
Yeah, no,
we still own the
you
product.
No,
that'd be us still owning the product. So royalty income, no.
No, that's something we don't have. We need to like get into a school. We charge them royalty.
Yeah, if we create a book and about entrepreneurship, beginning entrepreneurship, and we sell it to schools, and they give it out in their curriculum, then we get royalty income from that. See, that's doing too much, though. This is the whole purpose of the conversation. It's talking about you doing too much, you having too many streams of income being a problem.
Well, we've been talking about it in a problem way. Let's talk about what multiple streams of income can help you with, because there's some things it can help you with.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Usually it helps you with, and for us, essentially, this is what it helped us with getting your financial goals quicker, basically. So if you didn't know, we paid off $114,000 of debt in 23 months, and we did it by side hustling and having multiple streams of income. We were walking dogs, we were at a gym, we were at our 9 to 5. I was working in private practice. We did some surveys sometimes. So 4+ streams of income for like a year and a half to 2 years. So that is something that it can help with you getting there quicker. But there's usually, we talk about them seasons. So yeah.
And I also wanted to mention that is only one type of income.
What was it? The
active.
Oh, the active one. The earned and profit. Oh no, not even profit. It was
only earned income.
Chill.
So you are earned income is you spending your time to make money.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
And time is limited.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are only focused on earned income, your income ceiling is capped by the amount of time that you have in a day.
Yes.
You got 24 hours. If you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is the most amount of money you can make because your income is completely tapped out based on the amount of time you can put in.
Mm-hmm.
So we had four versions of active income, but still only one stream. So that would be the difference.
Now you getting all deep.
I'm just saying. So yes, we had four versions of the same income type, but it was still active. It was tied to our time. It was tied to our day, and we were capped by the amount of time we had in a day.
Right. And the second thing that multiple streams of income kind of allows you to do is allows you to decide on what you like and what you don't like. And I could give us as an example. We realized we didn't like dogs in our house. We did that. Didn't like dogs in the house. We realized when we was renting out his car on Turo, we didn't like letting the car go for, a weekend or 3 days. So we stopped that. So, doing some of that, I think is important. But what we're referring to is kind of continuing with it of when things start to slip.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it allows you to focus on and then you find out what you don't like and you focus on more on what you do like. Mm-hmm. Let's say you make a lot of money actively. And that's another thing too. So if you know you can make a lot of money actively and then now your goal is to turn that active money into more passive money, it might be royalty money, whatever, that's totally fine. But don't allow yourself to turn that active money into more jobs and more work over time because now, again, you're going back to limiting yourself. So that's just something to think about. And I know society tells us to have all these streams of income, all these jobs, all these businesses, but we need y'all to focus on one at first. Focus on one. And then on our last episode, we spoke about the 5 best side hustles we're looking forward to, which is also doing too much again. We are contradicting ourselves.
No,
man.
We didn't say to do all 5 at the same time.
Oh, no, we gave options. And
let's be very clear.
To weigh them. We said to weigh them and figure out what to go in on.
And what fits in your lifestyle. Take away the keys from what we're talking about, okay?
We did say that. Say that.
Yes, we gave you options just like anything else, and what we preach is about options, just so that you're aware. Maybe you didn't know about some of those things.
Yeah.
So... but one thing, analogy that you wrote here, I would love you to say it because I think it's hilarious and it's true at the same time.
What, signs you're doing too much?
No. What having multiple income streams is like.
So having multiple income streams is like dating multiple women at once. And I said this because it may start off like, all right, I'm doing this. At some point, you're going to get the name wrong. Some point, you are doing too many dates. Sometimes your budget is going out of whack. You are not able to focus. And this is from a 36-year-old man. I'm not talking to the 21-year-old because I know you're still going to be out here dating multiple women. But if you are dating multiple women at once, you're going to slip up somewhere. And that's how having too many streams of income is. Something might slip here, something might slip there. So you focus on one, you get married to it, you have kids, and you have a great life.
Okay.
The end.
I feel like every 90s show back in the day had an episode of the man dating multiple women and getting caught.
He showed up to the wrong restaurant.
Yeah, or something. Was that a Jamie Foxx episode or Fresh Prince? I don't know. I don't remember. You're wearing the wrong thing.
That was definitely Fresh Prince. He had 2 dates at one in the same spot.
Yeah, I feel like every one of them had that. And it's like, you can't keep up, brother. So that's a great analogy. Generally, it's exciting at first. Like, I got these multiple things happening. I'm ready to go forward with it. And then it don't work out that way. So, but another important thing that we wanted to mention is, if you're like, well, I don't know if I'm doing too much, You're like, I have no idea. Yeah, I have these multiple streams of income, but I think I'm able to handle all of it fine. Maybe that's what you're thinking. If everyone around you is unclear as to what you do, it's a sign that you may have too many things going on, right? And sometimes we feel that way too. We feel that way sometimes too, because we're like, oh, we promote the podcast, but then we also have the course, and then we have a community, and then we have YouTube, and then you can follow us on Instagram. So sometimes when we're talking, somebody's like, oh, I didn't know you had a podcast.
It's like, how didn't you know?
I feel like we talk about it a lot, but maybe we don't. So people around you are kind of unclear as to what you do. I'm not sure if everything you got going on, it might be too much. It might be too much. And if if every other day you feel like it's something new is happening, and I look at Tony, because if it was up to him, that would be happening in this household. Every other day would be something new. Yep. You got to have somebody to reel you in and be like, that doesn't make sense right now. Not to say never, just not right now.
So that being said, how do you know when it's time to
start the other thing?
Do something else?
How do we know it's time to do something else?
That could be a whole episode in itself.
How do you know? I don't know if I can tell somebody that they know. But maybe if you said, I'm just going to talk out loud here. If there's financial goals that you have set and you hit them, maybe you're ready. If there is systems in place that it can flow, well, we say a big thing as well. If it can operate without you when it comes to a business, then maybe you're ready to do something else. So, and I think it just depends on when I'm starting a business versus 3 years in.
Yeah.
I maybe can do more at the 3-year mark versus when I'm starting. I can't start something else at the same time. So I don't know if I can tell you when you know, but that's kind of my suggestions. I don't know. You?
No, I think that's it. I think you nailed it when you said when you're able to operate it without you. And we didn't do that in our cleaning business until 3 years in. 5 years.
4.5 years. Yeah. 4.5
when we were able to say, all right, we step completely back and the business can operate without you. That's when you may say, all right, let me go and dabble in something else. So
because I have more time, more mental space, all of that.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add to our listeners here?
No. But we thank you for joining, and hope you got some value from this of, can you have too many streams of income? You decide. You let us know. Do you have too many streams of income? It's okay to let go of some of them. If it's too much, or it's not bringing you any value, or you're, not happy with it, let it go. Let it go in 2023.
We appreciate you guys being here. If you thought this was a 5-star episode, drop us a 5-star review.
With a comment. We got to start adding that. With a comment.
With a comment. Let us know what your favorite part of the episode is. Let us know what your favorite part of the income stream is. Let us know if you agree or disagree with anything. Don't drop our star count because you disagree. But let us know what your favorite part of the episode was, guys. 2023, we coming in hot. So see you guys next week.
But there's a Patreon now?
Yes.
Come on now. What's happening?
I might have to go
Once
back
again, we have a lot happen. Multiple streams of income.
We have a Patreon now. If you guys don't know what a Patreon is, it allows you to support the creators. So we have a $9 a month creative director Patreon, which allows you to get inside access to the podcast. So we allow you to ask us Q&A. It allows us to get on here and answer your questions. It allows you to get backstage footage, like setting up. It allows you to see what we're talking about. It allows you to, you want to see us talk about something or bring somebody on, that allows you that. So you get creative director access. You are becoming the creative director of the Hard Rock Hustle podcast.
Yes. So make sure you go ahead and tap into that if you would like more of us. But thank you once again for joining and listening.
All right, guys. Peace.
This has been an episode of the Hard Rock Hustle podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money.